Hey, Mike Scotchko here. For the record, I am a fan of Kevin McMahon. I think his imagination, his drive, his talent is worthy of awe. And so, what follows is for Kevin, but I'm placing this out in the public domain because maybe this will trigger somebody else, have a thought or two. Kevin, this little minutia, and I'm sure you've said this is a work in progress. So, little things. The distance between day one and two is different than the distance, significantly different than the distance between day two and day three. Design, as you know, is all about relationships. So these markers should have a relationship to these circles, and you can see, two's pretty much bisected, but one and three are off kilter. Four, of course, is going to fall somewhere. But if you're going to mark this 10 years and going to put mastery out here, at 10,000 hours or whatever, you might as well create that relationship. Four, six, and five dashes, and then this distance between that dash and the arrow drives me crazy, but that's me. Um, I love this curve, what you're saying. I love the callback to teach. This is especially wonderful because the idea that we ever achieve mastery, I'm not certain is a real thing, that the journey always continues. So I love that part. And I know we got to use a word, so that's it. Uh, the relationship of this text to these circles, you can see a couple, points at which they don't quite align. Um, just completing the square, find a way to make everything fit. Why is the word day capitalized but forever's not? Little things like that. This, I feel the same way you do. There's something else that you're going to find, and I don't know what that is. Um, Dualism, you got to find a way to say it. So I understand this and quit and grit. This is beautiful. I'm stealing this. Fair notice. I'm stealing quit and grit. This is beautiful. Could that be red and that be green? I don't know. Just thinking out loud. Uh, this is a thing of beauty. And I've already asked permission. I want the Illustrator file. This Photoshop file, is great, but I want to work on this too. So is it open source? Always attribution. I love this. You're awesome. Never stop what you're doing. Okay, I just watched that video and I realized a couple things. Number one, and this is another little thing that doesn't really matter, is see how that sits low and that sits low? Doesn't that bother you? I know, bugs the heck out of me. But here's the big thought that I had. I'm looking at this and the valley of despair. This is a moment in time. And if you really want to communicate this, maybe this chart has to be a little wider and you can get closer to a 16 by 9 so it fits better in a presentation. Maybe the valley of despair stretches out a little bit to represent the time because that valley isn't a moment, as you well know. And the decision process isn't just a switch. There's a point at which people give up or decide to keep trying. So maybe a visual representation of that unknown and always different amount of time that each individual spends could be represented there. Just a thought. And in stretching that out, maybe it gives you more time to balance these markers. And day one, two, and three, this feels wrong. It feels like there's a different way to say this. Just saying. And does this say 10,000 hours? I don't know. This is one of those works in progress, and if people don't think out loud, then, what's the point of collaborating? And for anyone who thinks I'm a lunatic and don't know what I'm talking about, that's just fine. I'm kind of used to that. All right. Everybody have a good day.